At my sister's wedding, after mocking her mid-vows that she was always second best, her cousin tried to laugh it off, grabbing a mic and yelling, "Come on, we all know it's true." I even hooked up with her fiancé back in college just to prove it. The crowd screamed in horror. What she thought was a funny confession destroyed her life in 24 hours. She was disowned, blocked, dumped, and shamed online before she could even get home from the venue. Let me tell you how my cousin Brooke ruined my sister's wedding, destroyed 2 lives, and got everything she deserved in less than 24 hours. I'm Jenna. I'm 34. I live in Everett, Washington, and my sister Rachel is 29. She's always been soft-hearted. The kind of person who forgives too easily, trusts the wrong people, and just wants everyone to get along. Which is why she never saw what Brooke really was. Brooke is our cousin. She's 33 and growing up, she always acted like she was better than everyone. Loud, cocky, always chasing attention. She had this smug smile, like she knew something we didn't. But for most of our lives, our family just went along with it. "That's just Brooke," they'd say. "She doesn't mean it." But I knew. And deep down, I think Rachel did too. When we were younger, Brooke loved teasing Rachel. First, it was about her weight. Then her grades. Her clothes. Brooke would say things like, "You're so cute when you try," or "You're not really the hot sister, but at least you're funny." Rachel would laugh it off, but I could tell it hurt her. She always looked up to Brooke, even when Brooke was cruel. But things changed when Rachel met Nate. Nate is 31, tall, kind, with a steady job as an engineer in Seattle. He's quiet, not flashy, but treats people well. Rachel met him through mutual friends 4 years ago. They hit it off fast. The kind of relationship you root for. He respected her, loved her, gave her space, but showed up when it counted. They got engaged last year. The proposal was sweet and simple, at a family picnic actually. Brooke was there, of course. She clapped and smiled and gave Rachel a hug, but later that day, I caught her alone, muttering something to her friend about how Rachel always lands the good guys because they don't see the real her. It bugged me, but I didn't say anything. The wedding was set for early spring. Kamano Island, a small coastal venue overlooking the water. We kept the guest list tight. Just immediate family, close friends. Rachel didn't even want bridesmaids, just me standing beside her. She did invite Brooke. Said it wouldn't feel right without her. I told her she was taking a risk. Rachel just smiled and said, "I think Brooke's grown up." She hadn't. The day of the wedding started perfect. Weather was clear. Food was great. Music was soft and classy. Rachel looked beautiful, simple white gown, minimal makeup, just glowing. Everyone kept saying how happy she looked. Then came the vows. Rachel went first. She spoke about how she spent most of her life feeling like a shadow. How she always felt like she was never quite enough. How meeting Nate changed that. How he saw her clearly, made her feel safe, real, chosen. She said, "For once, I feel like I'm not second best." That's when we heard it. A loud, sharp laugh from the second row. Brooke. She didn't even try to hide it. She leaned back in her chair, half drunk, and said, clear as day, "Second best? Come on, Ratch. You were always second best." Gasps. Literal gasps. The officiant froze. Nate turned his head, stunned. Rachel just stared, like she'd been slapped. Brooke grinned. "I'm kidding. Relax. It's just a joke." It wasn't. But she wasn't done. She stood up, walked to the DJ table, and grabbed the mic. I whispered, "Don't." She said, Okay, fine. Since we're being honest, I'll just say it, I hooked up with Nate back in college. Just once. Just to prove I could. He never told you that part, huh? Dead. Silence. My jaw dropped. Rachel's bouquet hit the ground. Nate's eyes went wide. He shook his head. "That's not true." Brooke laughed again. "Come on, it was like 10 years ago. We were all drunk. Who cares?" People started yelling. My dad jumped out of his seat. My mom gasped so loud it echoed. The photographer dropped his camera. Rachel looked like she couldn't breathe. She turned and walked away, fast into the building. Nate followed, stumbling over his own feet. Brooke just stood there holding the mic like it was karaoke night. That's when the chaos really started. Family members were shouting. Some people tried to go after Rachel. The DJ cut the music. The officiant slowly closed his book and walked away. Brooke kept saying, "It's not a big deal. It was college. It was a joke." Nobody was listening. Someone, I think it was one of Nate's groomsmen, caught the whole thing on video. He posted it on TikTok that night. By the time we got home, it had over 1 million views. The comments were brutal. People were calling Brooke a jealous narcissist, the worst wedding guest ever, a walking red flag. They pulled her name, her job, even her boyfriend's Instagram. She tried to make a statement on Facebook. "People are overreacting. I made a dumb joke. I didn't mean any harm." That post didn't last more than 10 minutes. Her boyfriend broke up with her that night. Turns out, she'd been cheating on him too. Someone recognized his face from one of her older posts, put 2 and 2 together, and messaged him with screenshots. By the next day, Brooke's job put her on unpaid leave. Too much attention. Too many complaints. She worked in PR, and they couldn't have her name tied to something so public. She tried calling me. Left a voicemail saying she was just trying to be real, and wasn't going to let Rachel pretend to be something she's not. I didn't answer. She called Rachel too. Rachel blocked her. Rachel and Nate didn't talk for 3 days. When they did, it was behind closed doors. All I know is that when Rachel came out, her ring was gone. She told me quietly, "I can't marry someone I don't trust. Even if it was a lie, I can't unknow it." They broke up. Rachel hasn't said Brooke's name since. But Brooke? She's vanished. Last I heard, she moved to Portland to start over. Her socials are wiped. Her phone's disconnected. Her mom, my aunt, says she's taking time to reflect. But she also said, "I warned her. She did this to herself." This story isn't over. Not yet. Because Brooke didn't just ruin a wedding. She tore open old wounds, destroyed a future, and laughed while she did it. Now she's alone. And this time, nobody's laughing with her. After the wedding disaster, things got quiet. Too quiet. Rachel stopped talking to almost everyone except me. She deleted her Instagram. Took time off work. Some days, she barely got out of bed. I'd come home from my shift at the dental clinic and find her curled up on the couch with a blanket, eyes red, staring at the wall like she was trying to erase her whole memory. One night, 2 weeks after the wedding, she said, "I keep wondering if maybe Brooke lied. But then I think, why would she say it at my wedding if it wasn't true?" I didn't have an answer. That's the worst part. We never got a clear truth. Nate kept claiming he didn't sleep with Brooke, that she was twisting something from a party years ago. But he also never explained why he waited so long to speak up. Or why he didn't chase harder after Rachel left him. So the doubt sat there. Heavy. Unmoving. But the real twist came when Brooke's ex-boyfriend, Matt, reached out to me. I barely knew him. We met maybe twice at family events. But he messaged me on Facebook with a long note saying he was sorry for what happened at the wedding. He said he saw the video, dumped Brooke that night, and thought I should know something else. "She's done this before," he wrote. Apparently, Brooke had a pattern. Getting close to people's partners. Pushing boundaries. Flirting, bragging, even lying to make herself look powerful. Matt told me that when they were together, Brooke once pretended she'd slept with one of his coworkers. Just to make Matt jealous. Later, she admitted it wasn't true. She called it a test. I showed the message to Rachel. She stared at it a long time, then said, "Even if it's a lie, I still can't go back to how things were." It hurt, but I understood. Then things got worse. A few people online started defending Brooke. She was just telling the truth. At least she was honest. Better now than after the wedding. It was mostly strangers who liked drama. But one of them, some podcaster who does wedding fails, made a whole episode about it, using Brooke's full name. Suddenly her name was trending again. That's when Brooke reappeared. She emailed Rachel. It was a long, rambling message full of half apologies and blame. She said she was sorry for the timing, but that you needed to know. She said, "I told the truth when no one else had the guts." Then she said something that made my blood run cold. "You always acted like the victim. Maybe now you'll learn what it's like to really be invisible." Rachel didn't reply, but I did. I wrote back, "You think you're the hero of this story? You're just the storm that passed through and left nothing but damage. Don't contact her again."
She didn't respond.
But she wasn't done. 1 week later, I got a text from an unknown number with a photo. It was a screenshot of Brooke smiling with a group of people in a bar. Caption said, "Still winning." I ignored it, then blocked the number. But it messed with my head, because Brooke doesn't just want attention, she wants power.
Control.
And even now, after losing her job, her boyfriend, her family, and her name, she was still trying to get the last word. Rachel eventually moved back to her own place. She started going to therapy twice a week. She told me she doesn't want another relationship for a long time. "Next time," she said, "I won't be so easy to knock down." I nodded, but inside I was still angry. Because Brooke wasn't done paying. Not yet. She thought she walked away from the blast she set off. But I had something she didn't know. Something she forgot. And I wasn't going to let her forget it much longer. A month after the wedding, things were starting to feel normal again. Rachel was back at work, easing into a new routine. Her coworkers knew what happened. They were kind. One even said, "Anyone who brings a grenade to a wedding doesn't deserve a single friend." We laughed at that, but the truth is, we were both still carrying that grenade's aftermath. Brooke had gone quiet, or so we thought. It was a Saturday morning when my friend Katie, who works HR at a marketing firm in Seattle, called me. She sounded weird. She said, "Jenna, does your cousin Brooke go by Brookmeyer?" I froze.
Yeah.
Why?
Katie sighed.
She just applied here. Big resume. Looks impressive. But then I saw her name and remembered the video. I thought maybe it was a different Brooke, but she used your wedding venue as a reference for event experience. That's when I realized. Brooke was trying to spin the disaster into a story she could use. She was telling potential employers she'd coordinated family events under pressure. She even listed crisis communication and viral content engagement as skills. She turned a public shame spiral into a selling point. I told Katie everything. Every detail. She thanked me and hung up.
Brooke didn't get that job.
But now I was pissed. I started looking deeper. I still had her old boyfriend Matt's number. I asked him if he ever noticed Brooke talking to people from Rachel's past, like friends or exes. He hesitated, then said, "Yeah. She once bragged about messaging one of her exes just to see if he'd respond. She called it stirring the pot." I got chills. Rachel's college ex, Connor, was suddenly back on her radar. He'd texted her just checking in a few days ago. She hadn't replied. I asked her about it. She looked confused. How did he even know what happened? That was the final straw for me. I logged into an old backup email account I hadn't used in years. The one Brooke and I used to share passwords with when we were kids. One of our dumb bonding things. I tried a few combinations and sure enough, one of her throwaway accounts popped up in the recovery list. It took me an hour, but I got in. And what I found made my stomach turn. She'd created fake accounts to follow Rachel. Not just follow, message people around her. She'd contacted 2 of Rachel's college friends pretending to be a concerned ex and asked if they knew about Rachel's cheating history. None of it was true, but she was planting doubt, quietly poisoning her from the outside. And she'd also emailed Nate from a fake account, pretending to be me, saying things like, "Rachel's still talking about you every day. She regrets the breakup." I felt sick. I confronted Brooke directly. I emailed her from my real account with screenshots of everything I found. All I wrote was, "I know what you've been doing. I'm done letting you mess with her life. One more move, and I go public with every message, every fake account, every lie." She didn't reply. But a day later, all the fake accounts vanished. The email was deleted. And her name started trending again for a different reason. Because Katie, my HR friend, she sent the screenshots to a couple recruiters Brooke had spoken to. Quietly. Privately. Just a warning. One of them leaked it. Now Brooke wasn't just the girl who blew up a wedding. She was the one who kept stalking her own cousin afterward. Articles started popping up again. This time with more context. The woman who sabotaged her cousin's wedding is still at it. Reddit threads exploded. And Brooke?
Gone.
Again. But not before sending me one last message. You think you won? I'm not going anywhere. I didn't answer. But I wasn't done either. Because now I knew just how far she was willing to go. And that meant I was ready to go further. I'll be honest, I didn't plan to destroy her. At first, I just wanted her to stop. Stop hurting Rachel. Stop lying. Stop poisoning everything good in our lives. But the more I saw, the more I realized Brooke wasn't just a problem. She was dangerous. She didn't just ruin Rachel's wedding. She kept pushing.
Lying.
Manipulating. Pretending like she was the one who got hurt. And now she was trying to rebuild her life like none of it ever happened. So yeah, I snapped. I gathered everything. The fake emails. The burner accounts. The text to Nate pretending to be me. Her using the wedding venue as a job reference. The messages she sent to Rachel's old friends. The screenshot of her bragging in that bar. Everything. Then I contacted a local Seattle journalist. Someone who'd covered social media scandals before. I gave her the whole file. I told her the truth. Every word. She was skeptical until she saw the wedding video. Then she said, "People need to see this." The article dropped the next week. It wasn't just a hit piece. It was a full breakdown.
Timeline. Quotes.
Photos. Verified sources. It ended with a warning. Some people don't just crave attention. They crave destruction, even if it's their own. It went viral. Again. But this time, it didn't die out in a week. Because now Brooke wasn't just a name in a viral TikTok. She was a case study in manipulation. A warning sign. HR forums picked it up. Reddit reposted it across dozens of subs. Her old college alumni page banned her. Even her old workplace put out a vague statement about ethical concerns. And Rachel? For once, she wasn't the one people pitied. She was the survivor. The one who walked away. The one who finally got to be seen, not as second best, but as someone who deserved better. Then came the part one didn't expect. Brooke showed up at my door. I hadn't seen her in months. She looked different.
Pale.
Tired. Hair a mess. No makeup. No phone in her hand. Just standing there like the wind might knock her over.
She didn't yell.
She didn't cry. She just looked at me and said, "Why did you do this to me?" I didn't flinch. I said, "You did this to yourself." She stared at me, like maybe she was waiting for me to say I was sorry. I wasn't. I shut the door. That was the last time I saw her. I heard she moved to a small town in Oregon, changed her last name, started over again. But I know Brooke. She'll never stop trying to be someone important, even if it means burning every bridge to stand on the ashes. And me? I sleep better now. Not proud of everything I did, but I protected my sister. I made sure the truth came out. I made sure Brooke couldn't spin her lies anymore. We all made mistakes. Rachel for trusting her. Nate for hiding too much. Me for waiting too long to act. But in the end, Brooke lost everything because she never knew when to stop.
And now?
She has no one left to blame but herself.